Howdy. This is huge. This is massively out of proportions. Ladies and gentlemen, we may just have the biggest cyber attack of 2020 and possibly next year. Yeah, you heard me right. Next year, 2021. This attack is so complex and high level that it took 9 months, 9 good months before it was discovered. And there is no estimation of the damage it could have done during those 9 months. Various cybersecurity companies have labeled this attack by various names. We're just going to go with SUNBURST as it is the most common name thus far. So how did it begin? How was this sophisticated attack made possible? There's a software company called SOLARIS, and one of the products that they develop is called ORION, and it is used for IT monitoring by various firms and companies. So ORION got compromised, and the attackers were able to roll out an update with a DLL component that contained a backdoor. A DLL is a file on Windows that has the portable executable format just like any of your other EXEs. So the specific compromised DLL file is called business layout, and the backdoor that it contains is able to communicate with its command and control servers via HTTP, which is a protocol that ORION itself uses while sending some analytic reports. And this enabled the backdoor to blend in and not to raise any eyebrows. This attack exploited the trust that users have in updates rolled by the software vendor. I mean, if you're running a software on your computer and you realize that there's an update for it, and the update is both signed and licensed by the software vendor, then you will trust it, you will download it, you will install it in your computer without necessarily knowing that the software vendor might have been compromised. And that is exactly what happened. Statistically, the number of clients using ORION are over 300,000, and this includes major firms and companies. Because if you look at your Fortune 500 companies, about 400 of them are using ORION as an IT monitoring tool. Which means if they install this update, they are compromised. Now there is no indication that the malware contains a ransomware component, and this means that it's possibly going after something that is more valuable than money. I wonder what that might be. Your data. To those of you who don't know what a ransomware is, it's a form of malware that encrypts your file, holds them hostage until you pay a ransom for them. And this is not the case with this attack. So far, it seems to be able to transfer files, execute files, profile the system, reboot the machine, and disable system services. Now, my speculation as to why this level of access seems to be possible is that whoever is running ORION in these companies seemingly has to have some form of high-level privilege account. But if that speculation is wrong, then they are probably using a privilege escalation technique, as those are very common in exploit development. Now, how the hell did it hide for 9 months without being traced? Well, the simple answer to this question is this attack is very sophisticated. First, after reaching any system, the backdoor will sit tight for 2 weeks doing nothing, just sitting there, not sending any traffic, not doing anything. What this accomplishes is that even if you realize that there's a malware on your system, it becomes very difficult to pinpoint the source. Because if you realize that there's a malware in your system, you're probably going to start checking, things you downloaded in the morning or yesterday, but you'll never be able to think of things you downloaded or updated 2 weeks ago. And that made it very difficult to kind of trace and find that, okay, the source of the backdoor was from this ORION software. After the 2 weeks, the backdoor will try to resolve this domain, and if successful, it will start communicating with its command and control servers, receiving instructions and commands and executing them on the network. But if, for example, the malware is run in a sandbox or some sort of virtual environment, then the DNS records will not resolve this domain, and the malware will continue sitting there doing nothing. And this makes it very hard to analyze, because security researchers normally take such malwares and run them in some, safe environments to try and analyze what it does. But if this malware senses that it's in such a lab, it does not do anything. It just sits there and essentially prevents the security researchers from analyzing it. The backdoor also has an antivirus block list that it uses to disable any antivirus software that may be running on the infected system. It is able to identify the specific antivirus software running on the system by analyzing active services, processes, and the installed drivers on the system. Of course, this was more of a safety net, as no antivirus software was able to detect any malicious activity until a few days ago. At this point, I know you're probably wondering, why not just monitor the traffic and search for some malicious activity? After all, every network admin is obligated to continually monitor the network so as to be able to identify such threats. First of all, the traffic of the communications to the command and control servers are made to look exactly like the SOLARIS Winds API communications. Specifically, the backdoor hides its traffic by making it look like traffic coming off of the ORION improvement program, which is a legitimate program that ORION uses to collect evaluation and usage data from users so as to improve their service. Secondly, the data collected by the backdoor is stored within legitimate ORION configurations files and therefore are hidden in plain sight. Thirdly, the HTTP response bodies look like normal XML documents relating to the .NET assemblies, but the command data is spread across numerous hex strings. The command data is then extracted from the XML using the regular expression on the screen. We all know XML documents, and unless you're an XML professional, you won't normally understand everything on an XML document. You might understand some specific sections, but the sections you'll normally just ignore because it's a lot of garbage. Yeah, and that is exactly what this malware was using to hide its data and spreading it across various hex strings that were later to be collected using a regular expression. This is just genius. How was it then discovered? I mean, with this level of sophistication, how was this backdoor discovered? Well, it was discovered by FIREEYE, a well-respected cybersecurity company, and they were able to discover it because they themselves had been affected by the attack and numerous tools had been stolen from them. Now that last bit was heavy. FIREEYE, the big cybersecurity company, it got hacked with this attack, and the attackers were able to steal some very important tools. So the FIREEYE hack is of grave importance in this issue. To those of you who know cybersecurity companies, they are hired by major companies to try and secure their systems. So there are usually two fundamental teams in any cybersecurity company. There is the offensive team and the defensive team. The team that tries to gain access into systems by trying to find vulnerabilities, and the team that patches these vulnerabilities. So Red Eye also had a red team, the one that tried to find vulnerabilities, and the red team had numerous tools that it had developed to help them try and gain access into systems that they were testing. And these are the tools that got stolen by this attack. And that is why at the beginning of the video I said that this attack could drag on to even 2020. Looking at people who have already hired FIREEYE to make their system secure, we see very major players, right from big companies in technology, big companies in almost every sector has seemingly hired FIREEYE, including the national government of United States. It has contracted FIREEYE to harden its system security, and that is huge because these red tools could potentially pose a greater threat in the hands of these attackers. Now this attack was very sophisticated, and every single thing that I have mentioned in this video barely scratches the surface to what this attack could have already done. And with these red tools gone from Red Eye, we just don't know what to expect in the near future. Such an attack is obviously a result of years of meticulous planning. I actually looked at this domain that the backdoor tries to resolve, and I found out that it was registered in 2018. So this means that this attack has been planned for a number of years, hence its sophistication. It's very sophisticated. It's very difficult to analyze it because it senses when you want to analyze it, it just keeps still and does nothing. So it's very hard to analyze. It's very hard to notice anything out of the ordinary, and that is why it took 9 months for this attack to be discovered. Now, given this level of sophistication, the United States government is already pointing fingers to the Russian intelligence, and basically saying that this level of sophistication could only have been done with a very capable intelligence community. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. If you're new here and you liked what you saw, hit that subscribe button. I really need your help to reach 500 subscribers. Every subscription counts. Your subscription counts. It's free and you can always change your mind. See you guys next time.